Welcome, everyone, to the Everything Show. I am your host, Matrixlord212, and I'm with Chris. What's up, Chris?
What's up, guys?
Okay, so we got some box office numbers. We like to report how well these movies are doing. Number one, excuse me, number one for Friday estimates, Star Wars: The Last Jedi has in worldwide 635,282,356. It's doing very well. The domestic numbers is 321,282,356. Foreign numbers is 314. Again, this is only for Friday, so we have the holiday weekend. You know, we have Saturday, Sunday, and then we'll probably have it Monday or Tuesday. We'll have an accurate take on it. More than likely, Star Wars is probably going to get another, I guess, 100 million or more. So it looks like it's doing good, actually better than good. Jumanji has in 29,105,000. Not bad for a couple days. It's not even the weekend, just Friday's numbers. So that's really good. It looks like it's probably going to beat the production budget so far. And then we're only going to tell about a few other. I just lost my screen. Okay. Pitch Perfect, quickly, $10 million only from Friday. It's only a $45 million budget. That may do well. Probably that's his final one anyway. I'm hearing good reviews about it. Greatest Showman has in 7,723,000. It's too early to tell. And then we're going to have our two big movies that we're constantly talking about. That being Justice League, which is no longer in the top 10. Justice League is 13th place now. 638 million. So it actually dropped out of the top 10 quicker than I anticipated. Also, Thor Ragnarok is out in 16th place, I believe. Is it 16th place? That is 844 million, but not friggin' bad at all for. Wait, 13th place is Justice League. 15th place for Thor. And again, you expect this because there's a lot of movies that came out. There's also the downsizing movie.
Yeah.
Which is it didn't have that much of a budget. It has $2 million in. And then you got these other movies too, like Ferdinand is a comedy animation. We know how animations do. That's got almost 30 million in already. Wow.
Yeah.
And Coco still number 7. All that animation, man. 457 million. So a lot.
Jumanji's doing better than I thought too.
Yeah. I didn't think it was going to do bad. Oh, then there's also Father Figures, which I guess that's kind of a disappointment for them, because it's only got 1 million. They're not even telling you what the budget is. All right, so a few things I want to talk about. One, we got the Venom thing. You saw that story?
Is that about what the symbiote might possibly look like?
I think it's the actor that's going to play. Okay. Hold on, just bear with me. My computer's a little bit acting tricky lately. That one, Chris.
Is this? Oh, yeah. I had heard about this. Yeah.
Okay, so why don't you tell us what's going on with that?
Sure. Yeah. There was this. There was actually a couple other things about the Venom movie as well.
Oh well, you just feel free to just do whatever you like.
Well, yeah, but I think this is more prominent, to be honest.
Okay.
A bit more concrete, actually, as well. So it is confirmed now. I guess I didn't know it was confirmed. Riz Ahmed is definitely in the movie. Now, there were reports that he was potentially going to be playing Cletus Cassidy, who, of course, becomes Carnage. That is now basically debunked. He's not playing Cletus Cassidy or Carnage. Apparently, there was a rumor that he was going to be playing the Chameleon. However, that is also apparently been debunked or has been debunked. Apparently, he's playing a character named Dr. Drake, which is kind of ironic.
Okay.
Yeah. They're saying it could be Dr. Carlton Drake, the leader of the Life Foundation of the Lethal Protector story arc. So that does make sense because apparently this movie is based off of the Lethal Protector story.
Yeah.
So I guess he might be like the pseudo villain if Carnage is not the villain.
Okay.
Unless he creates Carnage somehow, which would be weird.
I mean, I could see that happening, that they just messing with the Venom. Instead of getting 5 symbiotes,
Yeah.
they just get Carnage. I mean, for budget restraints for now.
That's what it says in the article here.
And then they could have an after credit thing about then he made 5 more or something, maybe.
Yeah. It says that he extracted 5 seeds from the symbiote in the
Carnage is one of
comic.
them?
That's what this article's on Dark Horizons as well. So
Yeah.
definitely
Well, I
check
remember
that
reading
out.
the comic, and that's why I said there was 5. But if they're gonna make him create Carnage, and then there's other 5 after credits scene possible.
I guess that would make sense in a way. If the Venom symbiote is still going to be extraterrestrial in nature, I mean, I guess that doesn't sound bad to me. I honestly think that actually sounds like the smart way to go about this story, to be honest.
Now, I'm a little concerned about that there's no involvement, no mention of Spider-Man at all, supposedly.
Right.
Like, when they asked the guy, was it the director?
I'm not entirely sure, to be honest with
you. They asked somebody, and he just waved it off, like, brushed it off, like, this is a Venom movie. A Venom movie.
Yeah.
And just not the same universe, they said.
Yeah.
Which means that Sony was not really accurate, really, about that whole in the Marvel Universe. Yeah. It's a tricky subject.
It is, yeah.
You have a partnership with a company like Sony, and you really don't want to piss each other off. But then one tends to piss the other one off, but you can't really say anything because then that would mean that the deal will be over with Spider-Man. So you just have that weird face, like,
yeah.
Yeah, I guess it is in the same, it is like, not really, but okay. Whatever you say, Sony, and so you want to restart Spider-Man for another 5 movies? Yes. Yeah? Okay. Yeah, that's basically what the situation is. Little concerned, of course, because I don't know what kind of Venom we're going to have. I don't see how it could resemble a twisted version of Spider-Man, but then I'm concerned, is he going to be, while he's being a lethal protector type of thing to the people in a twisted way, is he going to be like a soldier type of thing, like Flash Thompson, Agent Venom, or is he going to be like Venom Space Knight?
Well, speaking of that, that was one of the other stories I was alluding to before. There may have been a leaked image of what at least the symbiote potentially combined with Brock is going to look like.
Okay.
And it is the normal non-soldier Venom that we're used to, like the original
Venom, I'm
one.
going to eat your brains, Venom.
Yeah.
Okay.
He looks a little strange, I'm going to be honest. His mouth was I think a little too small. But let me tell you something. I mean, it looks better than what they did in Spider-Man 3.
Great.
With his face, anyway, I should say.
Right.
I liked the concept of that Venom with like the Spider-Man webbing on it.
Yeah.
But this one doesn't seem to have that. The other story I was alluding to, and this might be potential spoiler for the movie, but there was some set video that someone shot of Tom Hardy, who's of course playing Eddie Brock, getting out of a cab, and the way I saw, like the way I interpreted what was going on, you couldn't really hear the dialogue, as far at least in the video I saw, but I may have been watching it without the volume, so that might be on me. But it looked like he was arguing with himself. So I'm thinking maybe this is shortly after he bonds with the symbiote, and maybe he's like hearing it like talk to him or something like that.
Well, let me ask you about that. Could they have this guy be like the voice of the symbiote talking to Eddie Brock, like in his head? Like, instead of us hearing Eddie Brock's distorted voice as Venom, it being like this actor is actually the embodiment of the symbiote and talks like in a different way.
I don't think they're going to go with that like direction, especially with Riz Ahmed, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I think they're probably going to, if Venom has a different voice that's going to sound different than Tom Hardy, And what I mean by that
Well, I
is,
mean, Venom. When I say Venom, I'm not. No, there's a difference between the symbiote.
yeah.
And Venom is the embodiment of the symbiote mixed with Brock.
Yeah.
I'm just talking the symbiote itself.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't think they're gonna do that with Riz Ahmed. I think they would get another voice or like another actor, maybe a voice actor to do it. I think it's gonna be like what you said. What I mean is the symbiote will have one voice, and then Eddie Brock symbiote combined into Venom will be Tom Hardy's voice distorted.
Or it could just be like the symbiote doesn't talk. It just you hear Eddie Brock saying, "No, I'm not going to do that."
Yeah.
And it's not going to be like, you know, and if it was a voice, it would be kind of like a whispering. I don't know, it's something weird, like, you know. But yeah,
something creepy that they could go with, you know, something that would make you like maybe it unnerves the audience and Eddie Brock at the same time.
Right.
You know? Yeah.
All right, so it's going to happen. We can't judge anything about it. We can't say if it's good or bad at all because there's nothing to basis our opinion of on that. So we're just going to wait and see. Now, what is the thing about? I'm hearing rumblings about Han Solo movie. I heard now somebody posted something. Are we going to get a trailer soon?
Apparently so. Yes.
So it's probably going to be after Christmas, right?
I'm assuming it's going to be after Christmas. You know what I just thought of actually too.
Okay.
They might do it as kind of like a New Year's thing, maybe.
Well, that would be really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could see them doing something like that. Like maybe, you know what they might do? It'd be really ballsy, maybe. Maybe they drop it during the New Year's special.
You know what? That would be fantastic because everybody's watching it.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I watched, you know, Ryan Seacrest's Dick Clark's Rockin' Eve.
Mm-hmm.
And if I could just add this piece of news about that, it turns out that Mariah Carey will be an act, same thing like last year. I guess rather than anybody getting sued or anything, she's going to have a chance to redeem herself or prove that somebody on somebody's end, the thing was messed up. So Mariah Carey will be singing in Times Square. So I know we were talking about that last year. Pretty interesting stuff. But anyway, let's get back to stuff that people really care about is the movies. Something about Black Panther. They really think it's going to have a $90 million opening? You think so?
That'd be interesting.
Yeah. So, of course, there was another article about Solo having more reshoots than they anticipated, which wasn't the whole movie basically reshot, just about.
From what I'm hearing, yeah.
So there wasn't anything left from the old movie, and then he had acting lessons. Well, look, I don't want to be I don't want to get people's perceptions of Solo like it's going to suck or anything. It's just that it faced a lot of weird things. Let's put it that way. So we're gonna see what the trailer is. Now, what else was going on today, Chris? Was there anything else?
There was actually an update. I know it's been a while, but there was an actual update about Godzilla versus Kong.
Okay.
A little bit or a little while ago. I think
somebody put something on Facebook about artwork, but that was just a fan artwork, right?
Yeah. Apparently they're going to be going back to Atlanta to shoot the parts of the movie or a majority of the movie.
Oh,
I think it was only parts. But
reshoots?
No. They haven't started filming Godzilla versus Kong yet.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking about. Godzilla 2.
Godzilla 2, yeah.
Yeah. Right.
So I guess they're going to be going back to the studio that they were filming Godzilla 2 in.
Okay.
So yeah, that's been really quiet too, which I guess makes sense because I think they're in post production or potentially doing reshoots.
Right.
So I mean, it's really going to be the countdown to Comic-Con. That's going to be when we get the final. I think that's when we're going to get the first trailer, which hopefully we'll be able to see. And I think we're going to get a poster. I think by then the official title of the movie will be confirmed. And I'm, really, it's any day now. I'm expecting I don't have any evidence to support this, but I'm expecting any day now we're going to get a leak of what one of these monsters looks like.
Really?
I really think so.
Wow. Now, are any of the characters from Godzilla 2 going to appear in Godzilla vs. Kong?
I think so. I don't know which ones. I have a.
There's Vera Farmiga, right?
Yeah,
which is one of my favorite actresses.
Yeah, she's really good. Yeah,
And Millie Bobby Brown from Stranger Things.
Yeah,
right?
There was another actress that they cast, and when they cast her, they said that she was going to play a major role, or at least a role in the future of the MonsterVerse. I can't remember who it was.
But the people from the first Godzilla are not going to be in it.
Well, Serizawa and Dr. Hawkins, Sally.
No, but
Hawkins,
I'm talking about Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver there.
No, they're not going to be in it, as far as we know.
Sally
Hawkins' character and her name was Vivian Graham, and Dr. Serizawa are going to be in Godzilla 2.
And yes, I know it's not. It's the actor and actress that played Quicksilver.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Aaron Taylor Johnson.
I got to be accurate sometimes because people think I'm stupid. But okay. All right. So I have another question too.
What's up?
Because I'm kind of confused, and you're the only one that could clear this for me. Did a cast the other day. I saw you commented about Last Jedi. I'm kind of confused because with all these articles I'm seeing, they said that J.J. Abrams, did Force Awakens. Rian Johnson pitched his own thing and did it. And now J.J. Abrams just pitched Episode 9, right?
Yeah.
So if he pitched it, that means that there was no real plan in the first place for Episode 9 or 8. Rian Johnson, after it wasn't like they had an outline like Phase 1, 2, 3, 4 Marvel. Yes, they want to know Star Wars comes out this year and this year and this year, but they didn't really have a concrete. Yes, maybe they want to have the First Order get destroyed in 9, like a synopsis or like a footnote or little notes, like a sentence. But when I was talking about like the stuff, it's not. I don't have opinion on. I can't have an opinion because I don't know. I'm just going by these articles that they're saying that there is no set concrete plan because Rian Johnson went completely away from what J.J. Abrams did. And again, we still got to understand that he's the director. And in this case, J.J. Abrams' job is to get the money for it, produce it. So he can't really have, if he's directing it, he's directing it. J.J. Abrams is a completely different title. It's not like he could say no. Now, when Trevorrow got fired, he was so happy, Abrams, because he did originally say, I should have did 8. So he's doing 9, but if you're pitching something, that means there's nothing in place, right? There's no overall thing like this is what's going to happen.
Well, it's not, and this I may have misinterpreted your comment when I left that one, but this is what, from my understanding, and this is backed up by what interviews and whatnot that we've heard. This is what it is. You're right. They don't have the phases. They're not doing this like Marvel. So that's not the model that they're following. Basically, what they have is there is a plan for movies like 7, 8, 9, Obi-Wan,
in name
Rian
only,
Johnson's trilogy. But this is the thing.
Year and everything.
But this is the thing. What's not correct is that they're all working on these things by themselves. They're not. J.J. Abrams was with Rian Johnson when he was doing this stuff. He knew what was going to happen. The story.
Yeah, but he couldn't stop it though.
He could have. If he went to Kathleen Kennedy and said, Kathleen, I don't want him to do it like this, she would have listened to him.
But wasn't it, correct me now, please, feel free. Mark Hamill did not know he died until he saw the movie.
We do not know that. Any article that is reporting that right now is speculating.
What about his face after he saw the movie? What about his attitude?
That's also speculation because I had read an article today where he was like, don't interpret that a certain way.
So why was he like that?
We don't know. There's that video came out of context and people were running with the idea that look at his face. Obviously he's all happy about it. I can't wait to do the premiere. And then afterwards, like,
What would you think? I mean,
Me?
no, yeah.
I wouldn't interpret that. It's the same thing that they did with the Ben Affleck thing, where yeah, that was funny. But honestly, we don't know we can't say we know what they're thinking.
Did he
because
talk afterwards, Mark Hamill?
I think he has, yeah.
And hasn't he said that that's not his Luke?
He has, yeah. And he's right. But where I disagree with him is he's right about it. It's not his Luke at the beginning and in the middle of the movie and whatnot.
But what
But at
about
the end,
the fact about the Jedi not running away?
I don't agree with that.
I mean, yeah. Wait, with the exception of Yoda giving a direct order saying, look, this is bleak, get the hell out, regroup when you can, whatever, but for now, stay away. That's different than because it was a command from the Jedi Order to all the Jedi to do that.
Yeah.
But on your own, if something happens, you're alive. You're going to go back and take care of the bad guys. You're going to go after the Sith or the whatever. Like, that's what I believe would be the way. I mean, even Mark Hamill saying that, just as he did in Empire and, Jedi, like, he would, if it was he was responsible, he would go after it right away, even if it took a year, if he had, all right, whatever, but he would. There's no reason why he didn't. And
well, this is the disconnect, too, and this what I'm about to say is backed up by a statement that Mark Hamill made himself.
Okay.
He said that he hasn't kept up with the novels, with anything like that.
But they were wiped, though.
No, the new ones.
Oh, well, that's different. I mean...
Well, no, the new ones are canon.
Okay.
So this is the thing. Luke was not on that island for as long as people are thinking. Because in Bloodline, which is 5 years before The Force Awakens, he was still out there with Ben Solo, right?
Okay.
So he wasn't on that island for like 10 years or anything like that. So Mark Hamill saying, well, Luke would probably take a year to go do this and that. For all we know, he was on that island for a year.
Right, because they said maybe he had a kid, maybe he had this.
Yes. So he wasn't on the, like, if they said he was on that island for like 10 years, then I would have been like, all right, that's a little weird. But we know for a fact that he hasn't been on that island for more than 4 or 5 years.
Okay.
Now, the reason that he left and that whole thing was, A, he was ashamed that he even thought of potentially killing Ben. B, he realized he was following the Jedi Order the way it was in the Old Republic, as far as we know. And that's wrong because those Jedi were wrong too. And he was starting to realize that if I'm doing this the way the old Jedi were, it's going to fail again, and it did.
Well, why can't he just do what he did in Empire? Like he ran to them to save them, or like a Jedi wanted to reach out to...
failed, though, when he did that.
How did he
Han
fail?
got taken away. He got his hand cut off.
But look at Jedi, though. He reasoned with Darth Vader. Like, that was a success.
Not
Vader,
in Empire,
in Jedi,
though.
I'm talking about. In Jedi.
In Return of the Jedi, yeah, it worked, but that was after he regrouped and did what he had to do and trained more.
Okay.
Yeah. With this one, he left because he was like, listen, everything he believed at that point had failed him. And he said, I'm responsible for all of this, but there's nothing I can do about it because what I believe is not going to work.
Well, why wouldn't it work? Why couldn't he use the Force against Kylo Ren? Why couldn't he warn Leia and Han and stand with them to deal with the situation?
Because Han had already given up on Ben, and Leia was off doing her thing with the Resistance.
So he wouldn't just try to help her, even though he knew he created a monster that could kill his own sister and the whole freaking Resistance? Like, he's responsible for it. He would just say, yeah, I'm going to an island?
That's what he believed was right, though.
To just leave his friends behind. Just whatever.
Because in this version of Luke was so messed up by what happened, he said, I can't do this. I have to go.
I can't get it, bro. I mean, as much as I think about it, I just can't get it. I can't process it, just like he can't process it. But I don't know. Maybe I'll never process it. But so now this whole overall plan is what? Like, Episode 9, they want to get to some type of conclusion, but everything else they don't know. Is that what it is?
One of those articles that you had posted there was talking about how they don't have a plan after 9, and we knew that because...
No, I know that, but there was a thing about if Abrams just pitched something like a week ago,
Mm-hmm.
then there's no plan.
He had to pitch the exact story. So there is a plan for 9, and there's things that they want to do. But what he probably pitched was like they have things they want to do. How are we going to incorporate those things they want to do into a story?
We do know that whoever's going to be living is going to be in 10, 11, and 12.
I'm assuming so, yeah.
And they gave her money, and now she's going to be in it. So, if she stays, you think that, is it safe to say that Abrams could do whatever the hell he wants right now?
I don't think he could do whatever he wants, but I think he has a decent amount of leeway to do a lot of things, but he just can't go nuts.
But isn't he just, like, you said it yourself that if he didn't like what Rian Johnson was doing, he was that powerful to stop it.
He could go to Kathleen Kennedy, who is, and be like,
but if he's in charge of it, like, they're not going to be fighting with him about things. I mean, they're letting him do whatever the hell he wants to do, no?
Well, he can't, like, there are certain, like, he has to stay within the rules of, like, established. So when I say that, I mean, like, he can't be like, and then Palpatine rises from the dead and takes over like, he can't do something stupid like that. But, like, he can do things as long as they are within the realm of, like, Star Wars. So he can't go, like, and then the galaxy just explodes. Like, he can't do something stupid like that. But he can do a comfortable amount of things. Like, he can tell his story.
But, okay. But is this ridiculous that he has this thing in his head, let's just say hypothetically speaking, right? He's like, I built Snoke. I made him this. Rian Johnson kills him. I know the character inside and out. He's so powerful he's not dead. Snoke's in episode 9.
Sure.
Okay. So that's not ridiculous.
That's not outside the, like, okay. What I mean by outside the rules is, like, characters can come back as Force ghosts in Star Wars. What I mean by, like, he can't do something ridiculous is like something like really stupid, like all of a sudden the Cloverfield monster shows up. Like, you can't do something crazy like that.
Or like a thing opens and everybody that was dead is alive again, like the Force, like Darth Vader. Okay, I get it. But he could technically, besides Snoke, could come back if he wanted him to. He could say, hey, I had a plan for Phasma. She's back too.
Sure.
He could then also say that I want Kylo with the mask on and I want him to turn good.
Sure. Yeah.
And he could say that.
I think Kylo Ren's going to have a new mask in the next one anyway. If they
he has to have a mask. I can't stand his face. You know that. Dude, I come on, man. That's menacing? Like, his hair and everything like that? No, man. He covered that up. You know? They should have even did something where he got scarred and then he would have to have a mask on. I don't know.
Well, he did have a scar.
No, but like really. You know,
oh, you mean like Vader? Like
really, like, you know, you gotta cover that shit up. I don't know. Yeah. Okay, so Abrams doesn't have to have any like Rian Johnson can't stop Abrams from doing anything in 9.
It all depends on how much of a pull he has with Kathleen Kennedy.
See, because this is what I'm trying to figure out, right? Before episode 8, J.J. Abrams was the man. I'm going to just say it, call him the man, right? Meaning that he could do whatever the fuck he wants, excuse my language. Of course, he decided not to do 8. He regretted it. Now he's coming back for 9. He could have rejected Rian Johnson. But now, Rian Johnson got offered this sweet deal where he's in charge of a whole new trilogy for himself.
Mm-hmm.
So my question to you is, if it was a thing about measuring, who is more influence right now over the Star Wars franchise? Abrams or Johnson?
Right now, in the main series, I would say Abrams.
Okay.
But here's my thing, though. They are not the only ones writing this. They have the whole story group there. They have Kathleen Kennedy there, who's really in charge of all of this. And they have like guys like Pablo Hidalgo, who's with the canon. So it's not like a director could walk in there and be like, I'm directing this movie this way, and I don't care what the story group says. Because as soon as they do that, they're off the movie.
So in other words, he can't say, "Listen, I had plans for Luke. He teleported. He's not dead."
Yeah, I mean, if they wanted to do something like that, they would have to talk to the story group. They'd have to talk to Kathleen Kennedy. And I know that this is gonna sound weird, but based on everything that I've seen out of that visual dictionary for 8, I think George Lucas has some sort of say in some of the things that happen,
How?
even though they're not. Because
How?
let me explain why. And I didn't know this prior to the book that came out, the visual dictionary for episode 8. Allegedly, the art that's in that book, some of the art, were based off of plans Lucas had for his version of episode 7.
What,
And
the Force Ghost that was a Sith? Or
no,
I'm an evil user or whatever?
not that one, no. But tell me if this doesn't sound familiar. Apparently, his idea for episode 7 was this girl named Kira was going to go find Luke Skywalker, who secluded himself on an island because something terrible happened.
So that's his thing then?
That was his version of episode 7, apparently.
Okay.
That
so
sounds a lot like episode 8 to me.
Right. Okay. Well, being that they bought Star Wars, they're allowed to use his stuff.
Yes.
Whatever he has.
Yes.
What was his plan for 9?
I really don't know. I'm assuming that that's going to come out with episode 9, like the visual dictionary episode 9.
Do you think, let me ask you a question. He obviously got to see it first.
Yes.
Even though they sold it, they give him the respect, right?
Yes.
And he said he completely loved it?
He said it was, what I believe he said
Brilliant.
was it was beautifully made. Yeah.
Okay, so he didn't say if you liked it or not, he said it was beautifully made.
I think he probably liked it because it was. Now this I can't say that this is confirmed. I don't have the visual dictionary for myself, but from what I've seen, a lot of that stuff that was apparently his version of 7 made it into 8 in a form, not exactly the way, but in a form.
So is that why he didn't enjoy 7 that much?
He liked 7. I think he liked 8 more than 7, to be honest with you. But I can't tell for sure.
I saw the interview that he said about. It was actually him talking.
Yeah. And
he said that 7 was kind of like, a redone version of like, a New Hope type of thing. Like, and he wasn't really, but he can't really, you know what I'm saying? It's like he don't want to really make.
I think he was hot and cold with 7, but I haven't heard anything negative from him about 8. So I don't know. Like, whatever he thinks about 8 that's his thing. You know?
So let me ask you a question. So he pitches this idea, but is Lucas a part of that?
I don't think he's.
What do you think?
I don't think he's a part of the story group, but I think that they maybe update him about things that are happening.
So Kennedy will tell him.
Yeah, because I think he'll give his opinion on things. But what I think the real thing is that they don't have to listen to him. If he gives, like, let's say he says, I don't like Kylo Ren without the mask, and they don't want him to have the mask, they don't have to put the mask on him.
I know, but you know, that's George Lucas. You would kind of listen to him probably.
I would, unless he said something crazy, but then, I'm not a director for these movies, so I mean.
Right. And the only issue I have now is what the hell do you do now that Carrie Fisher's dead? And they made it that she's alive.
I think she's probably going to die between 8 and 9.
So we're not going to see anything on camera because there's nothing filmed.
Yeah, unless it's like Scott said, where they have some, footage from 8 that they didn't use that they want to put in.
Like
9.
She's on a ship or something, and they go in here, and then it blows up.
Something like that, yeah.
But then that would mean they would have to kill whoever's in the ship with her, obviously.
Yeah, but someone made, I don't remember who it was, and I apologize for that, but someone said, or they said a really good idea about how she could die, and they're like, when she was out floating in space, spoilers for 8, when she was out floating in space in episode 8, they said, what if that really damaged her more than we saw? And that leads to her death. Like she was injured during that, and that's what leads to her death.
So, like, in other words, she's using the Force to keep herself alive for now?
Potentially, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That would make sense, actually.
I like that idea. I think
Me too.
I think that it really kind of, like, because I know that that's one of the complaints of the movie, but if you, in some way, it ties that up. It's like, okay, yeah,
There's no way that she could have use that type of energy And like if they're explaining like they did with Luke, where he was so exhausted he died, she used an incredibly even more energy than he did.
Well, no, she didn't, because that force ability that she used was just force pull. That's not really that.
But was
That's
it
not
force
that.
pull and force field or what? I mean,
It was force pull. She was actually floating in space. There was
but
nothing like,
she wasn't scarred.
well, that we know of.
Oh,
You know, the ability that Luke used was way like, that's a force ability that's like super super advanced.
I mean, the way I think about that, I mean, I don't want to really go into stuff, but like, just like Kylo and her were talking, that's like Vader and Luke talking like that in the movies. Like
It's
Luke,
similar. It's not the same thing though.
well, but I'm totally against using too much force powers and then you just die. I don't like that. I don't like that whole Superman uses all his energies using it for a day. I think they even got rid of that in the comics now.
It wasn't that he used too much force energy. It was the force ability he used is just really rough on the body.
If they said he was sick, that would have been a different story.
Well, yeah.
Like he was actually sick or dying. Then it would make sense that he's on the island to die. Like if he was actually dying rather than just going in to die. Like that would make sense why you can't be part of anything because he's physically ill. But they never did that. That would have been a completely different thing if they did something like that. But I don't know. It's over. Move on. Episode 9.
Well, one thing that I want to point out too is, and this came from another YouTube channel, that had said this before. They referenced that there was an interview that was given that said like the force is like a muscle. The more you use that muscle, the stronger you become. The stronger that muscle becomes. So when you don't use it for a long time, it starts to wither away, starts to atrophy.
It's like you were running a marathon without being trained.
Basically, yeah. They said that Luke closed himself off from the Force, so he literally wasn't using that muscle for however long he was on the island. And then as soon as he comes back to use it, he uses that Force ability on a much older body that hadn't been using the Force in a long time.
That makes sense.
That's going to mess him up.
Makes sense.
That's
I don't
going
like
to harm
he's dead,
him.
but that makes sense. Yeah.
Now, I'll say this, and even though I like the end of the movie a lot, I don't think I would have had Luke die.
Thank you.
But my thing is, I'm not upset that he died because I know he's going to be in 9.
I know.
So
let me ask you a question. Were they mad at him in any way? That they wanted him to shut the hell up? Disney.
I don't think it would come to the point where they would kill off Luke because of it.
You sure?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So he's not mad in any way at Rian Johnson or anything?
He loves Rian Johnson.
He does.
He's been saying that ever since that I don't know if he said it after the movie, but he even said once, he was like, shout out to Rian Johnson for taking some of my ideas and not taking my stupid ideas.
Right.
Because he's definitely attached to the character. I'll never say that Mark Hamill doesn't love Luke Skywalker, but my thing is, this is he said he wanted Luke to turn to the dark side and be like all scarred and like a giant buff like monster. And it's like Mark, no.
Yeah, wow.
What do you mean?
I wouldn't have wanted that either, yeah.
So I think he loves the character, and I think he probably loves the character more than anybody else. But just because he plays the character doesn't necessarily mean he knows what's best for the character.
Listen, when politicians talk to him on Twitter, they call him Luke.
Yeah, well,
and he lost. Because every right knows it's Luke Skywalker. I don't care whatever. It's like he's like, that's not my name, but it's like that's great. I love Mark Hamill. He's great.
And you know what's interesting too is there's still that 32-year gap between 6 and 7.
Yeah.
Where Luke was doing a whole bunch of stuff.
So could he have a kid out there? Could he have a kid out there?
It's possible. I doubt it, but I'm not going to say it's impossible.
I mean, then I would continue with the Skywalkers, obviously.
Yeah.
Okay. You're writing episode 9. How do you end it?
How do I end it?
First of all, who dies?
Well, obviously Leia would have to be gone.
Okay. Is
I
Kylo dead?
think he's going to die. I'd prefer that he didn't.
Okay.
I would actually like if I would like it. I think it would be a bit different if they go the route that he's defeated and they capture him and they arrest him. You know, I had this thought, and this comes from Avatar: The Last Airbender.
What if they kill her?
I wasn't going to go with that, but I think that's possible. But I was thinking, what if they don't kill Kylo Ren, but they somehow render his ability to use the Force, like they nullify it?
Well, that would be terrible, first of all. That would be
god-awful. I could just see that happening.
I would hate that. You mean he'd never be the Force again, never use the Force again?
Yeah.
That's disgusting. Why would you do that?
Well, no, I'm. Hold on.
No, I mean, like, what? No, not that you're responsible, but I mean, like, why would you do that? Like, why would that happen?
I don't know. I was thinking because there's this thing in The Last Airbender where they have the like. I don't know if you watched the show, but
No.
like some of the characters can control certain elements, right?
Okay.
And at the end of the show, spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen it, but it's been out for a long time.
Okay.
At the end of the show, the main character renders the other, like the main villain who could control fire. He takes all of his fire abilities away from him because he doesn't want to kill him. He says, "I'm thoroughly against killing anybody. I will not take a life, even his." But he takes his powers away, and he's rendered powerless.
Right. That would be terrible.
I don't think that's what they're going to do. I think that they'd probably kill him before they did that. But personally, I would like 9 to end with some sort of setup for what the next trilogy is going to be without sacrificing the conclusion of this story. So basically what I'm saying is end this story, but maybe hint at what's coming next.
Look, why can't you end it where they have this great battle, something happens, you don't know if he's dead or not.
Yeah.
And then she goes to make the Jedi, and he's using the Force to block if he's alive or dead from her. And then he just goes off and he restarts the Sith.
I think that's exactly what's going to happen, to be honest.
And in other words, it's not the Sith of the old rules with the power of 2. It's like a million Sith.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because, again, that was the stupidest rule out there is, because if you're the bad guys, you shouldn't be following rules. But, and I never understood that, because even then it was kind of confusing, because you could be 2, but then you have an apprentice you don't know about. It's like kind of weird shit going on. Like, Dooku is, you know, like, that's not 2, that's 3, that's, you know, it's like whatever. So, it would be better if he just restarts the Sith. Maybe he gets messed up. I think
basically what
he has to wear the mask at the end. And he's bitter.
I think basically what you just said, like everything you just said, I think is going to happen in 9. Yeah. I really do. I think he's going to go off and do some sort of dark. I don't think it's going to be the Sith, like you said. I think it's going to be some sort of like different order of the dark side. I would think, like
you know what? Screw it. It has to be the Sith. You want to know why? Because he wanted to do what his grandfather did. Pure Sith. And I'm talking when episode 10 starts, there's a freaking council of the freaking Sith, like they did with the Jedi in the prequels. Whole freaking planet with them on it. Just their whole home base.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I think that's something we might be seeing in Rian Johnson's trilogy, to be honest with you.
The Sith.
But, yeah, because I am under the impression now, I have no evidence to back this up, but I think his trilogy is going to be about the origins of the Jedi and the origins of the Sith.
Oh, so prequel.
Like prequel. Oh. Like before the prequels, like thousands of years before the prequels.
Well, let me ask you another question now. Why couldn't they make it that Luke was a clone?
Well,
they never really established what happens in movie canon if you clone a Jedi.
You want a really big twist for something, right? You have a dark side clone of Luke show up. Like not in 9. I'm saying like later on. And he's the villain.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty sick. I would like that.
I mean, if they here's the thing: if they clone, let's say Darth Vader, right?
Yeah.
Would he be the same?
No.
He wouldn't be powerful.
Because the ideas with clones. Well, first of all, there's a big thing about whether you can clone Force sensitives or not.
Okay.
But the thing about cloning is, yes, they'll look and sound exactly like the other person, but because they haven't had the same life experiences, they wouldn't be that person. Like psychologically. Unless in Star Wars they have some sort of way of grafting that into the memories of the clones.
Like, in other words, if they clone Darth Vader, wouldn't the spirit of Darth Vader go into the clone now?
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
No. But that could be like an interesting like Force thing that someone could do, which I mean, I would stay away from that.
Like Snoke has bodies like they did in the comics of the Emperor and just...
Well, you see, that's something that they could potentially do, because his body was so messed up that he couldn't do
I didn't even know
anything.
how he was standing. Well, he wasn't really standing. I mean,
no, he stood up. I mean, he could stand and he could walk. But you notice though, in that scene after he uses Force Lightning on Kylo Ren, you notice he has to go sit down again.
His body can't handle it.
I think his body is so messed up that when he uses any Force powers, it just screws with him.
So why don't they just say, like, when 9 opens, like, Snoke has a new body, but he doesn't even look like Snoke? But like,
well, I think that would be the twist.
And then he said, listen, my body was dying anyway. What do you think? Like, you know?
I think that would be the twist, to be honest with you.
He's like, I knew you were going to kill me.
Yeah.
I couldn't wait to get out of that body.
Yeah.
Like, and he's like, you don't think I saw the lightsaber next to me? Like,
see,
that would be perfect.
If they did that, in my eyes, that forgives that scene in 8.
Yes.
I'd be like, okay, fine, I got you.
Like, he just shows up and he's like, no, I'm the leader here, and he chokes the crap out of Kylo Ren but doesn't kill him. And he's like, yeah, you honestly think with all my powers I can't see you move a lightsaber next to me? That would be perfect if they did that.
Yep.
Perfect.
And
then Kylo Ren winds up running and saying, you know what, and he runs to Rey like maybe he's going to be a good guy or some crap.
Let me tell you something. I don't think Abrams is beyond that. I really don't.
That's great. He's like, I was wrong. But wait, does he know his mother's still alive?
I don't think he does. And I think that's why he was so cruel at the end of the movie, where he was like, kill them all. I think if he would have walked in there and saw her still alive, he would have been like, Ma, what are you doing here? Like,
isn't there footage that they did of that or no?
I don't know.
Because if
I know that they talked about a scene, apparently about 20 minutes of the movie were cut.
Okay.
And there was one scene on Oct 2 that was cut that had Rey. It's the scene in the trailer where she's running on Oct 2 with the lightsaber. And it had something to do, I think this is in the visual dictionary as well. It had something to do with those caretakers that were on the island that were taking care of the temple and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Rey is talking to Luke, and she sees this big fire in the distance where they're talking.
Mm-hmm.
And Rey's like, what's going on? And Luke tells her, like, oh, yeah, there are these bandits that come to the island, and they take whatever they want, and then they leave. And a lot of the caretakers get killed because, they can't fight back.
And Luke doesn't fight him.
Well, this is the thing. And Rey's like, well, aren't you going to do something about it? And he's like, no. And so she's like, wait a minute. That's pretty sick, right? So then he's like, well, you don't understand. Like, you're not thinking clearly. And she's like, no, screw you. I'm gonna go save them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she grabs the lightsaber. She takes off running. And Luke's like, wait, Rey, you're not thinking about what you're doing. You're rushing into the situation. And she's like, screw you. You're not helping them. I'm going to go help them, right? So she runs off. She gets to the village, and it turns out there are no bandits. They're having just like a party. It's like a ritual ceremony kind of thing. Oh. And they're all dancing and being happy. And Rey's like, well, what the hell? And Luke gets there, and he's like, you see? You rushed off into the situation without thinking.
Right. So in other words, they know they're going to die, but that's part of the thing.
Yeah, but there were no bandits. They were just kind of having a celebration, and with a big bonfire. That was the fire that she saw. And it was supposed to be like the counter, not counter. It was supposed to mimic the lesson of Luke running off to Cloud City to go save Han and Leia.
Yeah.
But without the consequences of that.
I see.
So that was kind of like her. It showed that Luke grew beyond just rushing into a situation, and that she would be like, oh, maybe I do have to think about what I'm doing beforehand.
That would have been a cool scene. I'm sure
that would have been cool. I was like,
cool
that
would have made the movie a little
interesting.
more interesting.
Yeah.
To me.
But apparently there's like other scenes that were cut. So as far as we know.
I mean, we had that scene that they cut with Kylo Ren was on the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
Why can't they have like a scene with him and Leia?
Yeah.
Or something. That would be cool. I don't know. It's a shame, though. It would have been so nice if with Force Awakens they could have had them all together. I mean, they got them after so many decades, and they just never did it. So weird. I don't know. All right, that was enough Star Wars. So we are nearing. It's not even Christmas Eve yet, but Doctor Who. We're going to talk very little bit about it.
Mm-hmm.
Doctor Who is going to be Christmas Day. And I know that everybody's, some people are worried, of course, but some people are worried about different things. Like, how is Moffat going to write for David Bradley's first Doctor? William Hartnell's condition, whatever. And then a lot of people are concerned that we have Bill, Clara, Nardole, Mark Gatiss. How are we going to fit them all together in a nice 1 hour, thing? Again, we heard spoilers, possible potential spoilers. I don't know. Unless we see it, I can't really speculate on that. I don't want to. So let's just watch it and see what happens. And then, of course, we'll be doing cast for next week on that, obviously. I can't wait to see Doctor Who. I'd rather them have more of it. But I do know that after 10 months, I'm just going to be gone for 10 months. So it's going to take a lot to get the momentum back for some people. It's not like us. I mean, some people are not happy. I wasn't happy that they chose her, or a female in general. But, they got to do something for Series 11 that's going to really hook you. I don't know. But we'll find out, right, Chris?
Yeah, we will. It's, like a little more than 24 hours away.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, bro, for this.
Thank you.
And, it's still early. I don't know. My timing is all off, dude, because usually we're starting later,
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. You got work tomorrow or no?
No, tomorrow's Sunday.
All right. All right, so maybe we'll do another one in a second. We'll see.
Sounds good.
All right, guys. Take care. Bye for now.